Let's get a little chill. It's a fun one. Do a little something else like that. I call those whale sounds. I don't know. Look, just having a little bit of fun with that one. Yeah, I think probably tonight. Maybe I'll make YouTube mad at me, but I think we're probably just going to stick with a bunch of kind of original-ish stuff here. There's one that I was kind of doing earlier. I don't know if I'm going to. Let's see if we can do this one. I was working on it a little bit. Let's see. I don't like that. I don't like that. We need to change that last chord there. I don't want to go to that B7 like that. What can we do? I like this. C major 7th there. Because we got to get back to the A, right? So according to music theory, if we're doing this, we got to get back to the A somehow, and we need a resolution, right? So maybe we could do. A minor 7th. Then we could go. Hey, okay, I think we got some resolution here. Okay, so. There we go. there. Yeah, kind of an original. Feel free to use it. Okay, so I guess one of the things I could say about that is not that that was anything particularly spectacular. Oh, well, first of all, I'm thumb picking it here today. Got my carbon, now Kiesel, right? Not that that was anything particularly spectacular, but when you think about it in your brain, think about a little bit of music theory, you've got an A, which is your 1, because clearly that E resolves to the A, right? So you got an E7, strong resolution, to the A, right? And this B minor 7th here is a 2 chord, right? And then, well, that's just an A in the first inversion. C sharp's in the bass, right? So you got an A, B minor 7th, C, A chord with a C sharp in the bass. Okay, then you've got a D chord here. All right, so I've got that now. Those of you with a sharp eagle eye will notice that that is simply a C chord frame, right? But I'm using that closed position caged method frame. Okay, that's really what it is. If you pull it back here, it's a C chord shape, right? Is really what it is. But I'm closing it off, barring with my first finger, right? So it's actually a D frequency, but doing a C chord shape, aren't I? Right? Anyway, get a little carried away. Okay, now then I go like this. Little hammer on. Now that is a hammer on that I'm pretty sure I got from Jimi Hendrix. He would do stuff like that all the time. Okay, now what I'm doing is basically again, but you can do it in the closed position up here and you can carry it. Now it's a little trickier to do. Now, because I'm closer to first position, my fingers are stretched wider, right? So it's a little bit more of a, and I'm not a particularly large person, nor do I have particularly long fingers. So I got to actually work on that, right? I got to practice that. If my fourth finger is not particularly long, so what ends up happening is I have to kind of make up for it by bringing my hand around, right? That's why I'm actually kind of playing in the classical position right here, okay? Right, this that kind of thing. So anyway, I have to do that there, and then I come back down to a C, right? But it's a major 7th chord, right? So A, B, C. Now that is not in the key of A major, is it? Why? Because in the key of A major we have a C sharp, right? So right, so that'd actually be a C sharp. I'm not playing a C sharp there. So what is this? I think the terminology is a non-diatonic. Well, no, not even, because it's not even a scalar. I think I go into a mode of some kind here with this particular scale. So what? But I basically go into an A minor. So what we're in would basically, but what be a C major? I'm not going to get too deep in the music theory, but let's assume that we were doing this. Not even that in a minor, because there's not even a major 7th chord is a non-diatonic chord in the minor. It's also a non-diatonic chord in the major because it doesn't exist in the major, because the major would be a C sharp. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I'd have to really think about that for a second. But my point in saying all that is, if you think about it in the music theory aspect of it, then you'll end up getting an idea of how the structure works with your scale, with your not scales. Yeah, no, with your scale degrees. And then you can actually kind of take it and use it to do like, any kind of, I don't know, improvisation or solos or whatever that you do that. So one of the things that people ask me all the time is like, hey, Josh, what do you do? How do you come up with this stuff? How do you think about this stuff? Well, kind of the first step is the easy, like, what's my scale degrees? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then what are my chords? I build my chords, on top of that and so on and so forth, right? So that's kind of how I go about this. So when I'm doing stuff like, right? And then I can't take credit for that. Scott got it from Jimi Hendrix. That's not me. Right? So I got that from Jimi Hendrix. Let's just put all of our cards on the table there. But so anyway, the point is that I practice all that stuff. I come together in my brain and I go, okay, what's a cool chord progression that I like? And I remember I was to put the final piece together. I remember I was in a music shop in Florida one time, and I was playing guitar, and it was a long time ago, and it was a jazz guy. I'm gonna call him a jazz cat, okay? Because this dude was so smooth. He played keys though. He played keyboard. So I'm sitting there and I'm playing guitar, and he made a statement to me. He said, you know, the smoothest transition you could ever possibly do, he's talking about bass lines, smoothest transition you can ever possibly do is chromatic. Now, what does chromatic mean? Chromatic means from half step to half step to half step. And I never forgot that, okay? Not that you have to do chromatic on everything, right? Like just to be smooth. But like, in other words, your bass line, stay within a relatively close position and you're going to get super, super smooth with your bass lines. So I try to stay close to like the scalar patterns. And then every once in a while, I'll throw in something like that. C major 7th there. And that is not in the scale of A major. C sharp is in the scale of A major. But I think it sounds cool, right? Right. And it's coming off of me using a C sharp there. Then we're going to go to the C major 7th. Yeah, C major 7th right there. Then I'm going to walk it down. That's why that really sounded good to my ear, right? So I got an A minor 7th there. And then here we're going to go and we're going to do my memory serves are going, let me think, EGB. We're going to do a 5 of 5 with that B7 there. Check this out. And then we're going to go to an E dominant 7th there. Now, why does that work? That works because that E dominant 7th resolves to the A major chord again. Right? And so now I've got a really cool chord progression, right? Hey, Jeff, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Right? So we get that really cool chord progression there, and it's a pretty neat thing, right? I was messing around with that the other day or earlier today. I don't really know how it just popped into my head, but I thought that was pretty cool. I also have an idea for like get a D major 7th in there somewhere, but I'm still fiddling around with that, and I don't want to bore you guys with that kind of thing. So yeah, sometimes YouTube just like it'll show me, doesn't show me when people are on. So like your comment was here before I even knew anybody was online, and vice versa. And it's weird. Sometimes it pops up and there's like people here and not here. So I apologize if folks are watching and I don't know about it. But yeah, good to see you, Jeff. So yeah, that's kind of just the thought process there. How to build chord progressions, how to have fun. And so using my thumb pick, that allows me to do it all. And I can go, right? I can use my thumb pick and I'll stand up here so you can see that a little bit better, right? So So I'm doing that with a thumb pick here. Gives me a lot more versatility. Now, some of you may know this, and some of you may not. But actually, the reason I play left-handed is because yes. Okay, I'm seeing your comment now. I am left-handed, and I was going to point that out. So I play left-handed, and the reason that I play left-handed is because I have an injury on my middle finger here, and I actually can't bend that tip of that middle finger. So the thumb pick actually gives me access to 2 fingers with the thumb, the first finger, and the third finger that I can use to play. Because my second finger, I do use it, but I use it to just pop chords. I don't use it to actually play songs that much because it's unreliable. There's a little too much flex there, and because I don't use it a lot, the muscles and everything is a little too soft. So I just like when I was 6 years old, my first violin teacher, because I play violin as well, my first violin teacher swapped my instrument the other direction. Like they were trying to make me play right-handed, and they were like, yeah, that's not going to work. So my first violin teacher, instead of looking at me going, oh, hey, Josh, sorry, you just can't play a stringed instrument. They're like, wait a minute, why don't we just put him left-handed? And it stuck, and I just kept playing left-handed, and here I am for the rest of my life later. Tough to find instruments. I mean, we're talking 25 years ago, right? Because I've been playing for, actually more than that now. 3 decades, so over 30 years ago now. but it's tough to find left-handed instruments at the time. I literally had to make my own. This one was literally built for me, the violin I have. So anyway, point in saying all that is the thumb pick allows me to get more fingers involved and do a little bit more with harmony and with lead lines and chording and stuff like that. And whenever I play with other people and I'm the rhythm, it allows me to get some other rhythm patterns. Let me see if I can get another one in here that I did. I think I did this one last week. I don't know. Yeah, so that's Africa by Toto, right? All allowed for by my thumb pick, right? So my thumb pick allows me to get that extra accurate finger usage where I just don't have it all the way with my second finger. Second finger is cool if I'm popping chords. So if I'm standing up, right. But even then, you'll see how my second finger pops up, and I don't want to use it because my brain's like, hey, that's not accurate enough, right? And I just go to my first and my third. Right, so my fingers don't want to do that. Now, it does look, some of you eagle-eyed viewers may notice, it does look like I'm flipping people the bird half the time when I play, which is kind of hilarious to me when I'm playing. Not very hilarious to my mother when I was younger. And she would just be mortified when I'd be flipping people the bird while I was either playing violin or like playing guitar. So yeah, that was not the best thing when I was younger. But now when I play, I'm like, man, I'm playing. I'm trying to deliver a good sound. I'm trying to deliver a good riff, trying to deliver a good tone. You just do it, like just go out there. Don't even worry about, the hands. So I watched a guy, Phil Katie is his name. Phil's missing a finger, and he's a great guitar player. He's missing his first finger though. So I was like, well, that dude didn't even have a first finger. I was like, I don't even have to use that second finger maybe. And, I kind of just developed a style around it. Now, does it limit me in some ways? Yeah, it probably does. I'm not going to have all the capacity of a true blue classical flamenco style classical guitar finger style player, but that's okay. I'm okay with that for now. I'm rocking and rolling. I'm doing my thing. And it makes for, some fun playing and some interesting stuff because I have limitations, so I have to work around them, right? So I just got to come up with a different arrangement to make something work, right? So one of those things that I actually did this sort of came from this next one. I don't even know where this came from. I think I did this a couple weeks ago. Here I am using my second finger. Check this out. So watch what I'm doing. Right, so that's actually Happy by Pharrell Williams. And that I am popping my second finger with because I'm not having to do specific independent work there. So I'm just picking it, right? And I can kind of get away with that, right? I can kind of get away with that there. But whenever I have to stop and do something that's more, I don't know, how would you call it? Accurate, right? Let me see. So something like a... that's going to make YouTube mad, but oh well. I just ceased to use my middle finger. I don't like it. I want to use my middle finger there. It would definitely give me more versatility and more options as far as melody goes. But sometimes I just can't do it, right? So it's just the way it is what it is. My two uncles, they both play guitar. They play like Chet Atkins style, exceptionally good at it. Very, very good, both of them. And they use their second fingers. Man, it sounds so good. I mean, they what Chet Atkins does, or Chet Atkins style does, it allows you to have your melody with your bass line and your rhythm. Now, bass line and rhythm, I consider bass to be a percussion instrument as well as a bass line instrument, but it allows you to accomplish percussion specifically and bass and also melody lines all at the same time. So I really respect them for being able to do that. Tough for me to mimic that exactly because I just don't have the usage of my second finger, but it is what it is. You got to do you know what I mean? So I've come up with ways to do that. Now, I do play some Travis. Oops. Nope. I'm gonna do that again. That's it. I usually keep that. I think I keep that F chord there. And that's how I get that. Because the C is in that F chord, so I'm able to do that. I think that's how it works. Oh, so what I also did there is I took that Travis style, when I just finally stopped using my second finger in this stuff, and I implemented it into Folsom Prison Blues, right? So see if I can pull this off for us here. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, that ending. A little bit of a cascade there, or cascade-ish, X-ish style, sort of a little bit there. But yeah, you can do a lot of that stuff with that thumb pick. Now, what the thumb pick to me does not get, at least on 9-gauge guitar strings, here's where we're getting into guitar talk or gear talk. For me, even on a 25.5-inch scale, which elongates it out a little bit, you're going to get a longer scale. So what ends up going to happen is you're going to get a little bit more tension on your strings with 9 gauges. But even with that, the thumb pick does not allow for a ton of nuance to me. So in other words, if you use a regular pick, you can get super ultra light, right? So you can get a lot of that. Right, so you can get a real light tone there. But the thumb pick doesn't quite allow for that. And there's a reason, at least for me. There might be some that do. But what happens is it's just kind of plastered to your finger, right? It's kind of just really stuck on there. So when you do it, it's always going to push and drive a little bit harder. Thinking of that song, Folsom Prison? Yeah, it's a good tune. Really good tune. Yeah, I actually got half of that lick from, again, some in a guitar store. They were doing that, but they were doing it in funk. They were doing a soul or R&B funk tune, and I pulled that from them, and I was like, wait a minute, that would sound great in country, but it sounded really good in funk. It's a different guitar, though. I can't remember. They were playing like a Jazzmaster or Mustang or something like that, and on the neck pickup, and it really sounded nice and smooth. So it was pretty neat. But yeah, so when you go with your pick, when your regular pick, depending on your gauge and everything, man, I went to a whole deep dive today or yesterday on pick thickness, right? So when you get the thinner the pick is, the lighter the pick is, like let's say you get like a 0.5, man, the twangier that tone gets, at least on a Strat style guitar, gets super twangy. And I love the flexibility of it, but then I hate how the tone always sounds twangy. So I was like, man, what am I going to do? Well, mediums are a good happy medium. But again, when you get that pick, you get that really nice nuance, really soft. Right? Right, you get that nice soft tone, but then I don't get to use my other fingers as much, right? And I may want that. So what I end up doing, I end up just using my fingers for most stuff anyways, right? I get a little bit of nuance. And then maybe I'll do this. I'll just go run my fingers. You know, something like that. You know, something like that. That almost sounds like a, oh man, what is that? What does that sound like? Oh my goodness. That's Santa Baby. I guess we're getting close to Christmas, right? Yeah, something that's about to be right around the corner. So there's one of those. So anyway, you mess around, getting back to what I was talking about earlier with the chord progressions and just how you come up with stuff. I'm a huge believer in exposure therapy. So what do I mean by that? You get to a certain point in your skills and you just inundate yourself with songs and just play anything that anybody will teach you. And that's why a lot of my stories start with, hey, I was in this guitar shop one time. Right? Or, hey, I was at this jam session one time. Or, hey, I was, listening to this song one time, or watching this video one time. One of the things I always suggest to people is if you're going to learn a song, go watch a ton of people playing it. Because even when you watch, like, let's take Crazy Train or something like that, right? So Randy Rhoads played Crazy Train. And you watch him do it in the videos that he did it live in. And even then, you'll see some variations in how he plays certain things, right? And even people like, I can't remember the guy who played for Night Ranger after Randy died. He took over. He played it differently. And then Jake E. Lee come in and he played it differently. So everything. And then Zach Wilde comes in and just, pinched harmonics for days. I mean, we're still hearing the pinched harmonics from the first tour with Zach Wilde. Not that I hate it. I love it. But everybody plays it differently. So watch a ton of people playing it and it'll show you live, maybe not live, but recorded on the fretboard where they're doing things, and that will inform you on actually how the riffs are being played, right? The only variables are going to be if they're in different tunings, so watch for alternate tunings, okay? Pull out your tuner if you have to, right? And check and see, like when they go to an open string, what are they actually playing? What is that note? Are they in an open tuning, right? Maybe not. Maybe they are. Check that with your tuner, And then the other thing you got to watch out for is sometimes they'll sneak in open strings when you don't notice it, and that can throw off your whole, thing. One of the most hilarious and, to me, controversial videos that I put up on here on my channel is the Enter Sandman video, where I use the open G string. So I know James says he doesn't play an open G there, but daggone it, I think it's there, and I think it sounds cool. So I play it, right? So anyway, that's just watch people play. And James doesn't do that. He uses some like weird, he does some weird, like, some like this weird, like, I don't know, fingering he does. That's it. Right, so if you watch him live, that's what he's doing. But he's in down tuning. So you always have to take that into consideration. I'm pretty sure he's at least a half step down, if not a whole step down sometimes. So just keep that in mind too. I ran into that hardcore, ironically, in country music. So I got hired to do a gig a while ago, and the gig was for this country. I was playing a bunch of country songs, and She's Country. We had to play She's Country. Who's that? Jason Aldean? Yeah, Jason Aldean. That song is tuned tuned drop D, and then the whole guitar is tuned a half step down, if my memory serves me correctly. So you're actually, like, as if you played in standard, you'd be in drop D, but because your whole guitar, all strings are tuned a half step down, you're in drop C sharp by technicality, right? So you're in an alternate tuning right out of the gate. Well, if you don't pull out your tuner, or you don't like check with what you're playing or your notes, right? You're not going to know you're in drop C sharp, right? And you're not going to hear that. You're not going to make the adjustment for it, okay? So that's my suggestion, is pull out your tuner and just double check on that. Anyway, point is, what I was getting back to is inundate yourself. The hard part is this. If you're not following someone or learning from someone, or have a teacher or instructor, or at least a really good friend that's willing to help you, that is willing to tell you what songs are acceptable at what levels of your development. You may try to do a song that's just so far beyond where you are right now that ends up being frustrating for you to learn. That happened a lot to me when I was starting out. The first song that I ever wanted to learn how to play was Jesus Is Just All Right by the Doobie Brothers. Love the guitar solo. Absolutely love it. Right, so let me get that over here and give you a little bit of the. Here we go. Anyway, yeah, that was my absolute all-time #1 guitar song I wanted to learn when I picked up the guitar. I dove right headfirst in that guitar solo, got super disappointed about it real fast because I was like, I just picked up an electric guitar, man. I'd been a bass player for like 8 years by then, but I'd never really played guitar. And the only guitar I had before that was an acoustic with strings that high off the fretboard. Only a marginal exaggeration, by the way. Okay. Like literally that high. I didn't know you had to lower the strings on it. So I jumped into it. I didn't know much about playing guitar. I knew how to play bass. I'm like, oh, this should be easy. No, I had so much to learn at that point in time. So what I ended up doing is I scaled back and I learned how to play the chord progression. Okay. I learned how to play those licks to get started. Right. Then I dove back in later on once I had a little bit more experience, a little bit more understanding, and I started learning the guitar solo. So yeah, just be careful about that. If you have any questions about, what level, what song, where's a good place to start, kind of how to jump from level to level to level, what good order of songs are, just message me. Either on Facebook or here on social media on YouTube or something like that. I'd be happy to help kind of walk you through it. That's one of the things about the internet that's tricky is you just have so much information out there. It's like a fire hose. You're drinking from a fire hose. And have you ever seen a fire hose that's just been opened up and let rip? Man, that will blow a human being on the ground. So it's a lot like that. You just have to know there are places to go. There are people to ask that'll help you out and give you a good impression, but it's just kind of tough. You just got to find the songs that will help you progress and move forward from there. I will say, the book that I teach from online is the Hal Leonard Guitar Method, complete edition. And I really like it. I think it's a great book. I think that it gives you a good progression and good order that you can learn from and learn with. Okay, so I think that's a great thing to use. Okay, so last thing I'm going to talk about here is some gear, aside from the picks and so on and so forth. I am a really big fan of Carvin, now Kiesel. I don't know if I'm going to buy another one, but I'm genuinely, seriously considering it. I love stainless steel frets. I love, 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 love stainless steel frets. But Kiesels are not particularly cheap the way I spec them out. So we'll see what happens. I may get one. I may sell 1 or 2 guitars and then get a Kiesel. I really do think my PRS is on the chopping block right now. Not that I hate PRSs. I don't hate them, but I have found that I am not fond of their radius of 10 inches. I'm not fond of the Fender 9.5-inch radius. If I'm chording only and just doing rhythm, it's fine. It's not a big deal. But as you can tell, I play a ton of other genres, right? I play solos, I play licks, play whatever, right? So I can't, box myself in. Now, I know what you're going to say, Jimi Hendrix, 7.25-inch radius. John, I get it. But man, I don't know what to say yet. I don't seem to jive with those, rounder, more rounded, right? I just don't jive with it, and it doesn't work. So I'm probably now Fender does make the Player Plus series, which has a 12-inch radius. Strongly considering getting one of those. The reason I'm not considering getting an American one is because I don't know of an American Fender model that it but semi-custom models with a 12-inch radius. I haven't seen an option yet. If they did do that, I'd probably buy one of those. Again, not cheap, but real high quality guitar. And I play generally, a lot of Strat style guitars, although I love my Gibson and they come with a 12-inch radius. So I may be getting another Gibson here in a little bit. We'll see. But again, I need a 24 fret. I run a 24 fret for a lot of stuff. So I got to get me another 24 fret. And PRS was mine. I had a custom 24, but I'm probably gonna do something else with that. Schecter is an option. I do like Schecters a lot. I think they make quite good guitars. Their scale is different. I think the one I was looking at is like a 24 3/4 instead of a 25.5 inch. And I do think that if you're going to get up high here on your 24 frets, the 25.5 inch offers you a lot more room, with your 24th fret being about right here. Like the fret spacing is wider up here, right? So you're going to get a lot more space down here. I notice it when I play 25.5 inch guitars that are 24 fret versus 24 3/4 inch guitars that are 24 frets. I've had both of them, and you definitely notice a difference here. Me personally, maybe someone with bigger hands or bigger fingers doesn't notice that, but man, I notice it big time. And for some reason, even though I don't have super long, super big fingers, I notice that difference when I get up here for the 25.5 inch scale length. What is scale length? From the nut to the saddles, or nut to the bridge, right? That's your scale length there. So I noticed that difference. Now, are most people going to notice that? No, probably not. If you're just starting out here, and trust me, this is not me being condescending or negative. This is just me conveying. When you're just starting out and you're just kind of going forward from there, you're not going to absolutely notice all these differences and everything like that. That's fine. As a matter of fact, it's probably better, because you're not going to get distracted by all these other things. As you play more and as you get that exposure therapy, right, then you're going to notice all these different things in your gear and so on and so forth, where, then later on you find your preferences, right? So that's actually kind of my suggestion. Start with one of those, a basic guitar, a Fender, an Epiphone, or a Gibson or something like that. Find your preferences, play, learn how to play, get some skills. It doesn't have to be great. You don't even have to be intermediate. You just have to be able to be playing, and then you'll start to build your preferences, over time. So that's my suggestion for you there. We're going long here, so I'm probably not going to get into my amp discussion, but I am also looking at a new amplifier option, or at least a second amp option. For me, there's this guy out of Germany who I think they're shipping their amps this year. I got to double check. And he's got this crazy design that's got a mini tube in it, but plus like an octo core or like a 16 core digital effects processor with a attachable volume pedal and wah pedal. It looks like you're at a daggum like TIE Fighter Star Wars dashboard or something like that. It's so stinking cool. But what drew me to it was it is a true blue dyed in the wool amplifier. Okay. But it's got a tube in it. All right. So I'm going to be able to get some of that saturation that I like, some of that tube sound and feel. It's really about the feel, not necessarily the sound, but it's about the feel. I've got tube emulation on my current setup right now, and it's good. I get some sag out of it, right? But the feel of a real tube is super hard to replicate. Super good. Now, what's the downside of a tube? Downside of a tube is you've got to crank the living daylights out of that sucker. It's got to be loud. Okay. I know some people will say, oh no, it's not. Look, for the feel I want, you got to crank some power tubes. You got to get a little bit of those preamp tubes going, right? Anyway, so that's kind of how we're doing. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm overdriving that. Let's get off of that. Okay, so anyway, we had a good time here today. Yeah, I ran super long for you fine folks. Thanks for sticking with me as long as you did. I have no idea why, but again, YouTube sometimes doesn't show me if anybody's watching or not, and sometimes they show me people are watching, and I'm not really sure people are, but that's okay. I tried to talk to folks as much as I can, and I just deliver something that hopefully is useful to you every week. I don't want to waste your time, so we're gonna shut this down here. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I gave you something you can use. And I will hopefully see you next week. I'll try to get a much more standard time for this, so that we can all get on board and talk and discuss and kind of plan and know when things are happening. But my life was crazy. Today I had to drive a good bit and go take care of things in business. And, I couldn't even teach all day long because of sort of stuff like that. But that's fine. It was for a great cause, and I was happy to do that for the reason that I had to do it for. And but yeah, hopefully I'll see you all next week. Just keep an eye on the Facebook page. Keep an eye on the. I'll try to post this from now on in the community section of YouTube so that everybody can see it there. Okay. But yeah, good to see everybody. Jeff, thanks for stopping by, and anybody else who was here, because sometimes I can't see everybody. But yeah, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.